Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here today because we need to talk about something that could affect millions of Americans in just a few days. If you've been waiting for news about potential stimulus relief, here's what you need to know. Lawmakers have set August 15th as their deadline to make a final decision. That's right, we're talking about less than a week away from a major announcement that could impact your finances. Today, I'm going to break down everything we know so far, what this deadline really means, and most importantly, what you can do right now to prepare. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in together. Let me paint you a picture of where we stand right now. For months, Americans have been asking the same question: will there be another round of stimulus payments? And honestly, the answer has been frustrating. It's been a constant maybe with very little concrete information. But here's what's changed. According to recent reports from Capitol Hill, congressional leaders have finally agreed on something. They need to make a decision by August 15th. This isn't just another arbitrary date thrown around by politicians. This deadline is tied to the federal budget process and some key economic indicators that are forcing lawmakers to act. Let me explain why this deadline matters so much. The Treasury Department has been monitoring several economic factors: unemployment rates, inflation numbers, and consumer spending patterns. Recent data shows that while the economy has shown some recovery, millions of Americans are still struggling to make ends meet. Here are the numbers that are driving this conversation. Approximately 16 million Americans are still receiving some form of unemployment assistance. Consumer spending on essentials like groceries and utilities has increased by 12% compared to last year, but wages haven't kept up with that pace. And perhaps most telling, personal savings rates have dropped to levels we haven't seen since before the pandemic. These aren't just statistics. They represent real families making tough choices every day. And lawmakers are finally feeling the pressure to respond. Now, let's talk about what we actually know versus what we're hearing in rumors. Based on credible sources, including statements from key congressional committees and Treasury Department briefings, here's the current landscape. The proposed relief package being discussed isn't just about direct payments. It's a comprehensive approach that could include several components. Direct stimulus payments are on the table, but so are extended unemployment benefits, enhanced child tax credit payments, and targeted assistance for housing and utilities. The direct payment amounts being discussed range from $600 to $1,200 per eligible individual, with additional amounts for dependents. But, and this is important, these numbers aren't final. They're part of ongoing negotiations that could change right up until that August 15th deadline. Income eligibility is another key factor. Early proposals suggest the income thresholds would be similar to previous rounds: full payments for individuals earning up to $50,000 and couples earning up to $100,000, with gradual phase-outs for higher incomes. But here's what makes this round different from previous stimulus efforts. Lawmakers are placing much more emphasis on targeted relief. Instead of broad-based payments to everyone, they're looking at focusing help on those who need it most: families with children, people who are still unemployed, and individuals in certain hardship situations. The political dynamics are also interesting to watch. We're seeing bipartisan support for some form of relief, which is encouraging. Both sides of the aisle recognize that economic uncertainty is affecting their constituents. However, they disagree on the scope and size of the package. Some lawmakers are pushing for larger, more comprehensive relief. Others are concerned about adding to the national debt and want more targeted, smaller programs. This tension is exactly why the August 15th deadline is so critical. It forces everyone to the table to make tough decisions. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. What would additional stimulus relief mean for your family right now? Would it help with bills, groceries, or maybe give you some breathing room to plan ahead? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single comment, and your experiences help me understand what topics to cover next. Also, are you feeling optimistic about lawmakers actually meeting this deadline, or do you think we'll see more delays? I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts on this. Now, let's talk about what you can expect in the coming days and what you should be doing to prepare. Here's the timeline we're looking at. August 15th is the deadline for lawmakers to reach an agreement. If they meet this deadline, we could see legislation drafted and introduced by August 18th or 19th. Congressional voting could happen as early as the week of August 21st, assuming there's enough support. If legislation passes, the implementation timeline would depend on the Treasury Department and the IRS. Based on previous stimulus rollouts, we could see payments begin within 2-3 weeks of final approval. That would put the earliest possible payment dates in mid-September. But here's the key point. This timeline assumes everything goes smoothly. And let's be honest, when has anything involving Congress and stimulus payments gone completely smoothly? So what should you be doing right now? Let me give you some practical steps that will help you regardless of what happens with this deadline. First, make sure your information is up to date with the IRS. If you've moved recently, changed your banking information, or had any major life changes like getting married or having a child, now is the time to update your records. The IRS Get My Payment tool from previous stimulus rounds will likely be reactivated if new payments are approved. Second, keep your 2023 tax return handy, and if you haven't filed it yet, consider doing so as soon as possible. Your most recent tax return is typically used to determine eligibility and payment amounts. If you're behind on filing, this could delay your payment even if you're eligible. Third, be extra careful about scams. Whenever stimulus payments are in the news, scammers come out in full force. Remember, the IRS will never call you asking for personal information to process a stimulus payment. They will never ask for fees or payments to receive your stimulus money. And they will never ask you to verify your Social Security number over the phone. Fourth, start thinking about how you would use additional relief funds if they become available. I know it might seem premature, but having a plan helps you make better financial decisions. Would you pay down debt, build an emergency fund, catch up on bills? Having a clear priority list means you won't spend impulsively if money does arrive. Fifth, stay connected to reliable news sources for updates. Things can change quickly in Washington, especially around deadlines like this. I'll be monitoring the situation closely and will update you as soon as we have concrete news. Let me also give you some perspective on what to expect if the August 15th deadline isn't met. This wouldn't necessarily mean that stimulus relief is off the table permanently. It could mean delays, modifications to proposals, or a shift to different types of relief programs. Congress has several options if they miss this deadline. They could extend the deadline, break the package into smaller pieces, or incorporate relief measures into other must-pass legislation later in the year. So even if August 15th comes and goes without an announcement, don't lose hope entirely. There's another important aspect to consider: state-level programs. While we're all focused on federal action, many states have their own relief programs that are still active or being developed. Some states are using federal funds they received earlier to create their own stimulus or relief programs. For example, several states have launched programs for renters, small business owners, or families with specific needs. It's worth checking your state's official website to see what might be available to you right now while we wait for federal decisions. Also, don't forget about other federal programs that might help. The expanded child tax credit discussions are separate from stimulus payments, but they're related. Enhanced unemployment benefits, food assistance programs, and utility help programs are all part of the broader conversation about economic relief. If you're struggling financially right now, please don't wait for potential stimulus payments to seek help. There are resources available today: local food banks, utility assistance programs, rental assistance, and community organizations that can provide immediate support. Here's what I want you to remember from today's video. August 15th is a real deadline with real consequences, but it's not the end of the story regardless of what happens. Whether lawmakers meet this deadline or not, the economic challenges that millions of Americans are facing aren't going away, and that means the pressure for some form of relief will continue. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay hopeful. I know it's frustrating to wait for decisions that affect your daily life. I know it's exhausting to keep hearing maybe and we'll see when you need concrete answers. But progress is happening, even when it feels slow. I'm committed to keeping you updated every step of the way. As soon as we have news, whether it's good news about stimulus approval or updates about delays, I'll be here to break it down for you in simple terms. What can you do right now? First, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Seriously, with news moving this fast, you want to know as soon as something important happens. Second, share this video with anyone who might benefit from this information. Your family members, friends, or coworkers who are also wondering about stimulus relief. They'll appreciate getting clear, straightforward information. Third, keep the conversation going in the comments. Share your thoughts about the deadline, tell me what other topics you want me to cover, and let me know how you're doing. This channel is a community, and we're all in this together. Finally, take care of yourself. I know financial stress is real, and it affects every part of your life. Whether or not stimulus relief comes through, you're going to get through this. Focus on what you can control, use the resources that are available to you now, and remember that these challenging times won't last forever. I'll see you in the next video with more updates. Until then, stay strong, stay informed, and I'll talk to you soon.